Most colleges and universities often send officials to visit high schools, almost every high school in America. And the intent is to educate those in 12th grade what the school has to offer them. Of course, I recommend, when these children are in 12th grade, there's so much that they're going through. They have like school activities. Some of them are writing the SAT. Some of them are like taking multiple classes so that they can graduate. So there's a lot going on, but they also need time to attend some of this event so that they can ask all the relevant questions that the school has to offer in terms of maybe funding, in terms of how they can get access to the school if they have questions on the checklist that they have they've looked at earlier. The school officials will, of course, be available to assist. Okay, so the child and then the parent can also visit a college and universities at 12th grade. Some of the schools actually facilitated this, and they will help the child with the parent to go and visit, and then they will take you through what they come to the high schools to do, the same thing. And then at 12th grade, apply to as many college and universities as you can. I have seen some that apply up to 21, some up to 20, and then others maybe 10, others maybe 5. But the take-home message is that some schools will give you more money than others. So the more you apply, the better the family can make a decision together on whether you should go to Princeton, University of Maryland, NYU, and the rest. So at least I am saying that at least 12 application is enough for the child so that you can make an informed decision about it. Okay, there's also organizations that assist students to get into colleges, but those one comes at a fee. And I am also saying that for the program to work better for the child, they need to enroll in the program early. One of them is college assistants, and these days there are so many of them. They will guide the child. They targeted the schools that the child want to go, the university that the child want to go, and then they'll guide the child to make sure that the child has everything, met all the requirements that the child needs to get that university. So there are also people like that, but at a fee. And for the program to be effective, it has to be around 10th grade or 11th grade. 12th grade, there's not much they can do to help you. Okay. Scholarship. And scholarship is basically, you have some from the government that the Pell Grant, and then some from the states, and then some are from the schools. And of course, we also have individual college savings, those that the father or the mom or the parent is doing for the child. And an example of some of these are the life insurance, the 529 college savings, the mutual fund, and then bonds. And then, of course, we have student loan from the government. We have the direct subsidized loan and direct unsubsidized loan. We call it sub loans and unsub. I'm going to get into that later. And then, of course, we have PLUS loan, which help the child to pay tuition, housing, and food for campus students. But PLUS loan is not a loan that the child is taking. PLUS loan is taken by the parent. So it's the parent's responsibility to make payments. After this is through Department of Education, this is a government one. There's some kind of credit check, we'll get into that. But basically, the emphasis here is that the loan that the parent, when it's plus loan, the child got nothing to do with it. The child is not the owner of the loan. The parents are. And once you get the loan, 6 months after that loan, the parents need to make sure that they are making payments on that loan. I'm going to go about the scholarship again because sometimes the child get financial aid from the school, and then there's a confusion on what to select and what not to select. So the first thing, which is a priority, is the grant, which is here. The grants, you don't have to pay back. So that's item number one. Just take it out. Sometimes they will bring you some forms to sign that you're not going to use it for other things, just for school. Just sign them because this one you don't have to pay. The states, we're going to get into it. The state also give grants to students. And then we have one that are also coming from the school. The school also give grant. These are all free. So that's item one that it should be the child should select or accept on the financial aid package. Then if your father or your mom has 529 college savings, mutual fund, life insurance, something else that can help you, that should be item number two. That should be item number two that you should use. Item number three, after you've exhausted these two, then you should look at direct subsidized loan. I'm saying direct subsidized loan because normally they will give you, if you apply through the financial aid FAFSA application, they're going to give you direct subsidized and then direct unsubsidized. What that means is for the direct subsidized, when you get the loan, you are not required to pay any interest. No money will be added to the loan until you graduated from the program. I repeat, when that loan is given to the child is not going to be, they don't have any responsibility of having $10 added to the loan, $20 or whatever, until the child is graduated from school. After he or she graduates from school, then the interest starts to accumulate 6 months after graduation. However, when we come to the direct unsubsidized, what that means is as soon as the child gets the loan, 6 months after that loan is disbursed, interest start to accrue. And that's where the problem is. I have audited Department of Education from 2005 until 2011. I know everything about it. And this is one of the issues that it's always killing people because the unsubsidized loan, you may get 10,000 loan from the government. By the time you are done with school, it's 15,000 or 16,000. And this is a rare example. And then if you get 20,000, by the time you finish, it's 30,000. That's how it works. So if you can manage with the grants, the college savings that your parent has for you, and then if you can get a little bit of the subsidized loan, and if you are okay, I am saying stay away from this, the unsubsidized one, because that's where the problem is. You finish college and the loan has diluted to something that you can't make sense out of it. But if you need it to go to school, I will never turn my back on it because at the end of the day, it's a government loan. So it's better than coming to down here, the private ones. The unsubsidized one is better than this one. So, but for a matter of priority, if you have enough, stay away from it. If you don't have enough, you can get it. And then we have the plus loan, like I said. In this case, you have exhausted all the grants, the savings that they have, the loan that the government getting for you, and maybe you still have 4,000 to get whatever the school's asking for. Then in this case, your parents can come in the form of the plus loan. And again, it's the parent that are getting, they are responsible. The child got nothing to do with it. So be mindful when you get it to start paying. Otherwise, it's going to negatively affect your credit. Now, when we have exhausted everything and there's still the need for money, that's when you go to this private company. Because everything that we talk about over here, if Biden decides to give right loans off, you can get everything off except this one, except the private one. So the private one, it's basically your hands is tied and you need to go to Salome to get another 5,000 or 4,000 for the child to go to school. And Salome, City Financials, and Navy Federal, there's so many of them. They all like get but this is private. Government is not inside. And we're going to talk about the interest rate, the fixed, and then the variable. So we're going to talk about it later. Okay. Okay, so the FAFSA application, you have to complete the FAFSA application as soon as possible. And then there's a lot of changes that they've kind of made, as Dr. Birabua earlier stated. And then the FAFSA is always, it used to be available in October. They've changed it. So now it's available in December 31st and then ends in June. The take-home note over here is that the earlier you apply, the better, because FAFSA application is, and then when the school get it, first come, first serve. So I may be number one, and then maybe you kind of fill it earlier. They will make sure I have all my financial aid before they get to you. So for those who are going to college first time, it's important that they fill this FAFSA as soon as possible. And I know some of the high schools are helping, but if we also kind of reinforce the message, it's actually better for the child. And also, when you are filling the FAFSA application, just be mindful, because these days they are asking a whole lot of questions about your finances. I'm not asking anybody to cheat here, but the more you give your finances, your asset, the less the child is going to get to go to college.
Really?
That's how it is.
Yeah, I will be there at 8 o'clock.
Yeah. Basically, make sure that, because they're going to ask for your checking, how much you have in, your savings, how much you have in, your 401k, how much you have, other asset that you have, liquid asset that the child can use. Basically, they are getting that information and they are going to tell the child, like, hey, your dad is rich enough, your mom is rich enough, so you don't need the government to support you. So let us be mindful when we are filling this new application. It's kind of a way for them to get the information before they have other way of checking, but the government feel like somebody is snooping on somebody and they should make it voluntary. If the person give you the information, use it. If you don't get it, then you're on your own. Don't go and snoop on anybody. Okay. Some colleges and universities have their own deadline of when this FAFSA application should be submitted. If you look at the checklist, you get it there. The government is saying that you can fill it from December 31st to June, but some of the Ivy League colleges or universities, they have their deadline. If you miss it, you miss it. Then your parents have to cough all the money. So we have to be mindful on those requirements from some of the universities. Okay. Also, private universities sometimes offer more grant than public universities. So a typical example is we have PCG have some universities in Ghana. Over here, we have the Catholic, have a lot of universities over here. And then we have universities that are owned by the states, basically state university. So sometimes it's always, people think it's always better to go to the public one because you get more money there. Yes, that's true, but it's also not true because some of the private universities, they have alumni who are very rich and they donate so much money to the university to help students. So it's not always true that going to public university, and I know like state of New Jersey, for example, the state give you grants, you're going to get something from the Fed and everything. So it's going to be huge. But sometimes some of the schools that you're also going to select is actually going to give you more than what the public university is giving you. So our recommendation here is to explore all your options and then make sure you can make the decision together with your parents. Weigh all the financial aid the schools are giving you. Don't just say because it's in-state. In-state sometimes is cheaper than out of state, but some of the out of state will also give you more money. That to cover all the tuition. Okay. And some college and universities also sometimes benefit more. That's, I think I've already explained that. It benefits other students more because they'll have the resources to give you whatever money that you need to go to college. Okay. And we have funding for colleges, life insurance, and 529 college savings. This is a topic on its own that we can debate it like, but I've kind of summarized it in a way that will make sense to everybody. Yeah, 529 college savings is basically done in the states. For example, New Jersey has their own one, and Maryland has their own one. And then when you open that account, you kind of get financial tax incentives from the states. I think in Maryland is like 2,500 annual for the parent. When you file your taxes, that's what you get. So there's incentive for you to open the 529 college savings. But I am also saying that the disadvantage when it comes to the 529 college savings is so huge because, for example, the child can only use the 529 college savings in the state that the parents live in or where that investment was done. You cannot say, I live in Maryland and then I'm going to school in California and that 529 is going to help you in California. No, you have to use it in Maryland. If you transfer, unless your parents are actually transfer to California, you cannot use it in California. So that's something that we should consider. And I think the one of the things that is easy and it's across the state lines is actually like life insurance. Of course, you have mutual funds, you have the bonds, they are also across state lines. But I believe when you purchase life insurance, permanent life insurance, not just, what do you call it, the term life, no. Permanent life insurance with a living benefit. And they can estimate for you, if the child is 16, how much money he or she is going to get for school. If the child is 18, how much money he or she is going to get for school. So, and those predictions are valid because life insurance kind of, you don't lose money like the 401ks that you wake up and all your money is gone. Life insurance is not like that. So my preference, and that's what I have done, is actually life insurance. Because if the child decided not to go to college, I don't have to lose the money. 529 is basically for education, or otherwise you pay penalties for you to use it. So life insurance, mutual fund, and bonds are also the option. Okay. So we talk a little bit about like the life insurance, which accumulate cash and you can withdraw to support the child everywhere. It does not have any limitation. Whatever the child want to go to school, you can do that. Now, the 529 college savings, I am not knocking the college savings down. No, that's not what I'm doing, because New Jersey has something that we're going to look at it for 529, which is recommendable. I've not seen that in any other state. So, and the state is also giving you grants. So I'm not knocking it down. I just have problem with the limitation, the limitation that comes with, so it's up to families to decide where they want to go. Okay. And then they if you have to use it for other thing, then it's attract penalties, like I have already stated. Okay. So we have two type of loan. We have public and then the private. Basically, public is from the government, private is from the Salamis, the Navy Federals, and all the private ones. So the public loans are usually cheaper compared to the private ones. And we're going to get into it because those private loans, the public loans have low interest rate compared to the private ones. And then it's also better to choose a fixed interest rate than variable. Yeah, the government one is always like they've already choose it for you fixed. So, but the private ones, you have the option to either choose fixed or variable. And anyway, everyone knows how interest rate is going, but even if interest rate is stable, it's better to choose the fixed one. Okay, because the variable one can increase the cost of the loan to you. Yeah. And things that the parents should consider. Yeah, the child should be allowed to select a major that they are interested in. I've heard a whole lot, like, I want my child to be a doctor, and everything I was like, doesn't count. But sometimes that's not where the child interest is. And if the child doesn't have the interest in the field that they are actually going, then they may have issues, So like they should have interest on where they want to. Okay. And for the NEET student, college selection should be based on grant available and not, yeah. So sometimes you can have like Princeton, and Princeton is like saying that, oh, I don't have any grant for you. My fees is like 54,000 a year. And then you can have another school that's telling you like, okay, my fees for a year is 34,000, but I can give you grants. So the family need to make a decision here whether you go to Princeton or the other one, because Princeton, you are financing the 54,000 on your own, but the other university is actually giving you 34,000 grant for the child to go to school. So I am saying that, or the recommendation is like, the grant available, make that decision based on the grant that the student is got, not just the name. The name is important. Don't get me wrong. We all wish we went to Ivy school, so don't get me wrong. But as a family, you should make that decision together. Okay. And parent can also get a loan to support their child. That's the PLUS loan that I've just talked about. And like, it requires for them to check your credit, and the parents, the mom or the dad who did that loan owns the loan. It's not for the child. So if you don't pay your credit, it's going to get hit. It's not the child. The child have no responsibility when it comes to PLUS loan by the government or the private one. So let's just make a note of that. Okay. So graduate school. Graduate school is solution and research based. And in most cases, typically, you identify an area, a research that you want to do, and then you follow up. Usually you identify a problem, yes, and you like the literature that you must be filled. Also, advanced schooling at the PhD level is usually free. And not everybody know that, but master's program are either subsidized, partially funded, or fully funded. Only few people get funded to go to do master's program. And I have a note here. Some of the work that some companies are doing to get people, because when companies actually give sponsor people to go to do a master's program, they are kind of fulfilling their social responsibility to society and the company as well. And then the government also give them tax incentives. So, for example, I got a sponsorship from DOD to do my master's when I got here. Other companies that I know are sponsoring basically nurses who have their BSN to do their master's degree, because the company feel like they are helping fulfilling their social responsibility to society. And they are also getting tax incentives. So they are benefiting twice. That's why they are doing it. So sometimes we go to a company or like the government. The government, I know, almost all government agencies have it. But the private sector, you need to ask. If you don't ask, sometimes they won't tell you. So just be upfront and then ask them. Okay. You must have a clear about your interest. Identify the area, the area that interests you on a research. This at the PhD level or at the master's level. Okay, find a faculty that's find a faculty in the school of your choice who may be interested in your work. Okay, and then you should get your statement of purpose ready because they're going to ask for it. You should be prepared to write the GRE, the GMAT, and then the TOEFL if they ask for. I know in America, some of the schools waive it, but be prepared. You submit your application and then be prepared to visit the campus February or March. Yeah, usually funding accompanies PhD admission. I think we already stated that. Master's programs are always not like that because of people that are interested in. And I know like at work, everybody is doing masters because the government is paying for it. But when you get to the PhD level, the amount of work that's involved, I don't want to get there, I don't want to do it. So like at the master level, a lot of people are interested, but at the PhD level, it's a heavy work, and I'm not willing to take that level at this point. Okay. Also at the PhD level, the school take on the PhD student as a TA or like a research assistant. And basically like, because you are on as a TA, they will waive the school fees and pay you some kind of stipends for your upkeep. And some of these stipends ranges from 2,200 monthly upkeep, which is enough to get you your which is enough to get you a room and then maybe like, yeah. So also remember that graduate studies are full-time and you may not be able to work on your current job. Yeah, yes, that's very true. And you will only need to rely on your stipends for survival. Yes. And then you can also search on your own for your graduate studies from private funding. That's what I talked about earlier. Some of the companies that you are working for is actually sponsoring people to do their masters. Ask HR, ask them, because it's part of their social responsibility to the company and to society, and also they are getting tax incentives. So ask them. Okay. So these are some of the funding, government funding. This is basically, that's where you go to fill your FAFSA. This is Maryland. And Maryland State, they give up, like you can get up to 20. And then we have the private one. And yeah, so this is New Jersey. And I was amazed during this research, the grant available to, in what do you call it, New Jersey. You have the Governor Industry Vocational Scholarship. And basically, this is the link. So when you go there, you get all this. I just included it for how to get it. Every state has it. Maryland has their own. That's what we saw earlier. This is for New Jersey. And New Jersey, if you look at it, if you look at here, they have something called New Jersey Best 529 Scholarship. Okay. This won't help early college savings. This is what do you call it? A higher educational student authority offers New Jersey Best Scholarship. Okay. So like if you have the New Jersey Best Scholarship account, then you are also entitled to up to 6,000. Up to 6,000. They have some for law enforcement, memorial. They have some for 9/11. And then the best one, they have one for New Jersey Dreamers, basically undocumented children that are brought to the US within no fault of their own. Their parents brought them, but they cannot fill the FAFSA. The FAFSA application is for only green card holders and citizens. So if you are not in that category, you are out. So New Jersey, I think this does not benefit our society, our community that much, but it's a good initiative so that those that come here that are young through their parents, they can also apply, get a loan or grant. This is a grant to go to college or university. It doesn't get better than that. And I know some community college also offer this type of grant. I haven't seen any in Maryland, but there's one in Virginia. There's one community college, Northern Community College, that offers that assistant. You don't have to fill the FAFSA. You have to fill something else for them to give you grant to go to school. Yeah, and our people in Canada. Canada, one is actually better. It's based on a province that you live in. And for them, they actually even have, what do you call it? Something that determines how much you're going to get. Like if your circumstances are true, whether your family size is correct, your income, you have everything on the spot, you'll be able to know what to get. And that's something that US doesn't have. And then the link is there. The link is there for for the Canada one. And I guess I have ended, and I will thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Awuku-Gyampoh. Please, if you have your questions, you can type them, or if you have any comment, you can type them there in the chat. We're going to listen to, he touched on the fact that there are some people who want to do the masters and they are not, you are not sure where to start from, when to start, and you don't even know whether there is some form of funding for you. And so we're going to have Mr. Prince Awuku take us through that session. As well, there's this consortium that is offering education opportunities, to those who want to do their masters. And you have a fantastic, he has a, just very informative details for us to share with us so that we can all rely on that and know how we can also fund our master's education as we continue to work as well. So we'll call on Mr. Prince Awuku to take us through the next session. In the next 30 minutes, we'll do that, and then we'll spend the rest of the time taking the questions and then responding to the issues that you may all have. Catechist, please, are you on? You can take over now.
Yes, Papa, I'm here. Thank you very much. I want to say a big thank you to the Department of Education and also the Presbytery for this opportunity. And I'll ask if I could also share some slides.
Yes, please, you can share.
Okay.
Not
yet. I think
he's yet to be made a co-host. Yes, you can go ahead now.
Okay.
You can share.
Thank you.
Yes.
I hope you can see my slides.
Yes, please.
Okay. So thank you very much. I have here all you ever wanted to know about an MBA. And I know that I cannot cover everything about the MBA, but I will try. I'm sorry, I'm getting some feedback. Okay, thank you. And I know our main theme is to talk about funding, but before we get to that, I want to review some quick questions to help us before we get to the meat of the presentation, which is on the funding. So I have here the purpose of an MBA. An MBA is a Master's in Business Administration. This is a degree that is meant to give you the skills to be a manager or to be in leadership. And the good thing about an MBA is it doesn't matter what you have in your first degree, but you must have a first degree. So you can have your first degree in anything: sociology, chemistry, theology. So my fathers and mothers who are ministers, I encourage you to look into this as well, to add an MBA to your ministerial background to make you even a more effective minister. So that is the purpose of the MBA. And I'm sharing that because I've met some people who say, as for me, I don't want to be in leadership. I don't want to be boss. I'm okay doing my small job every day and clocking in, clocking out. If that is you, that's fine. Then the MBA is not for you. But the MBA is for somebody who aspires to be in leadership. You want to be part of the management. You want to go as far as the CEO, if possible. And if you look at whatever organization you work in, whether in a hospital, company, look at the leadership team. Look at those at the top. Google them, and most companies have their information on their company website. Look at their background, and most of them, I can tell you about 99% of them have the MBA, and because of how essential this is. Now, the next one I want to address is, should I choose between a master's and an MBA? Let's say I want to study a master's in supply chain management, and I also know there is an MBA in supply chain management. Which one should I go for? My answers will say it depends. It depends on what you want to do. Again, the MBA is for leadership. So if you go in for an MBA in supply chain management, you will not acquire all the knowledge about supply chain management, but you get the skills to get into leadership. So somebody who went in for the master's in supply chain management will have more knowledge than you, but the person with the MBA, in most cases, will grow their career faster than the one with the MBA. So that's something also to consider. And then I skipped one question. I'll go back. The second bullet: should I start my MBA right after my bachelor's? My advice is no, unless you are getting your bachelor's from one of the top schools like Harvard, MIT, then it doesn't matter because they have a very strong alumni base. So if you got your bachelor's from Harvard, it's okay if you get the opportunity to go straight for an MBA. Other than that, I would say that make sure you work for a minimum of 2 years before you get into an MBA program. Because once you get in, you realize that even though you are getting all these skills that will prepare you for management, when companies are looking to hire MBA graduates, they look for your experience prior to the MBA. So if you just had a bachelor's, and let's say New Jersey, as one of our state schools is Rutgers, so you got your bachelor's from Rutgers, and then right after that, you got your MBA also from Rutgers. you have more difficulty finding a job versus somebody who got a bachelor's from Rutgers, went to the workforce for at least 2 years, came back to get the MBA, and now this person is looking for a job. So please, minimum, get 2 years of work experience before you go in for the MBA. The next question, should I go part-time or full-time? Again, it depends. And when I'm talking about the funding, the funding I'm going to talk about today works for only those who can go full-time. If you are in a company and the company is paying for your education, of course, go part-time and take the number of classes that the company will pay for. Because the benefit of that is if your company is sponsoring you, when you graduate from the program, the company, in fact, before you graduate, the company has something in mind for you. So when you graduate, they will find a place to fit you so that you move into the management role. If you are trying to get the MBA on your own, I would recommend going full-time because I've seen so many people go part-time in their companies. Let's say somebody works in the lab as a scientist, and then in addition to that, they are working on a part-time MBA. They graduate, they get their MBA, the company says congratulations, but as an organization, they still don't see you as a management person. They will still want to keep you in the lab, and that they think that's where you belong. So if your company is not the one sponsoring you, if your organization is not the one sponsoring you to go for an MBA, and then I will encourage going for full-time versus part-time. One benefit of going for full-time, if you go for the traditional 2-year program, after your first year, you get the opportunity to go on an internship. And most of the time, the internship is your key to your full-time job. You go in there, you perform satisfactorily, and most of the time, right after your internship, you are offered a job. I had my internship with Intel, and right after my internship, they offered me a job when I still had a 1 full year of schooling to go to. It's a long story. I ended up declining that offer, but that is something that really happens. So that is why full-time is preferred. And again, it also ties into the next one. Should I go for a 1-year or 2-year program? Today, there are some schools that offer an accelerated program. In a year, you are done. If your company is sponsoring you, go for that. But if you are somebody that is looking to go on your own, then I'll say go for the 2-year program and get that internship advantage that will help you get your next job. And then should I choose online or in person? I would say as much as possible, go in person. Because one thing that you'll find in the MBA is that it's not just going to take classes, getting the knowledge. You get more value by your interaction with your classmates, what they call the cohorts. So the people who are in the program with you, you get a lot of value from interacting with them because people come from various backgrounds. Some of them are coming from companies that you may be interested in, and they may give you insights as to how to get into those companies. Some of them, their companies are sponsoring them. So right after the program, they are going back into leadership roles, and they can link you up to some good job opportunities there. And aside that, the learning that you acquire from your peers is much more than what they teach you in the classroom. You take the traditional classes, accounting, financing, marketing, and so on. But what you learn from your classmates, that is beyond what the classroom offers. So again, if as much as possible, if you can, I'll say go for an in-person program. The next question, do I need to specialize? Again, I would say it depends. Some people are already got their bachelor's degree in business, maybe marketing, maybe finance, maybe supply chain. And now they are going for an MBA. Let's say somebody has their bachelor's in finance, they are going for an MBA specializing in finance. It makes sense. But if you are like me, who wasn't in the business field, and you are now going into business, in my opinion, it works better if you specialize than just going for a general MBA. But again, it depends on the school or schools you are interested in. Some schools don't offer specialized programs. You just go in for the general management or general MBA, and other schools offer that. So keep that in mind. Now, the next thing is, what is the average cost? So the MBA is not cheap. If you don't get scholarship and you are paying by yourself, it's not cheap. The average cost of the MBA per year in the US is about 31,000 plus. That is based on 2020 numbers. So 2024, obviously, the numbers have gone up. So if you are talking of a 2-year program, then it's 31,000 times 2. And my math worked out to be, it's not just 62, but 63, because it's not exactly 31,000, it's 31,000 and change for 2 years. And it breaks down as follows. For each year, you spend a little over 17,000 on tuition and fees, and then you spend additional over 14,000 on books, supplies, housing, transportation, personal expenses, and so on. So the MBA is not cheap. And this value I gave to you, that's the average of all MBAs, whether it's in-person, online, full-time, part-time. But if we focus on full-time, in-person MBA, the average cost per year is 47,000, whilst the part-time online programs, the average cost is 16,000. And when I'm talking of average, remember, we are averaging over all the schools, because some schools cost more than the others. If you look at the high-ranked schools like Harvard, MIT, Northwestern University, their MBA programs are much higher. They cost about 83 to 90,000 a year. Harvard, for example, just the tuition and fees is about 79,000. And then if you add accommodation and living expenses on top of that, you are easily into 100 plus. So over 100,000 a year for an MBA. You're going for 2 years, so we're talking of over 200,000. So the MBA is expensive. That is why you want to get funding as much as possible, either through your employer or through this funding opportunity that I want to talk about. So that leads me to the question, how do I finance my MBA? And I want to talk to you about an organization known as the Consortium for short. Their full name is the Consortium for Graduate Study in Management. And I'll tell you a little bit about them. Why am I telling you? Why don't I just jump straight to the numbers? This information will become very useful to you if you want to apply through them. You want to know about them. You want to know what their mission is and how you identify with that mission. Okay. So the Consortium for Graduate Study in Management started in 1966 in St. Louis, Missouri, and it started with the aim of giving African-American men business skills so that they will be equipped to fit in corporate America jobs. So that is how it started, 1966. 4 years later, in 1970, they opened this to women, Hispanics, and Native Americans. And then in 2004, they opened this to all US citizens and permanent residents with a demonstrated commitment to the mission. And I'll talk about what that means, demonstrated commitment to the mission. And this is for only US citizens and permanent residents. So please, if you don't have your green card yet, I'm sorry, you can't apply to this, but when you get your green card, then you qualify. So let us keep that in mind. Now, this program has 25 schools, they call them member schools. So you can apply to any of these schools through this program. They also have over 80 corporate partners, all the big companies that you know of. Many of them donate money to this fellowship. Talk of the Pepsi Cola, Chevron, ExxonMobil, Johnson & Johnson, all the major companies you can think of, they are involved in this program. Now, this program takes in about 500 students every year. So over the 2-year program, at any point in time, there are about 1,000 to 1,200 students in the program, some in their first year, some in their second year. And I remember there was 1 year, I think my year, they took in 900 students for that, just the first year cohort. So that's why we have, in some cases, over 1,200 students in the program at a time. And when you graduate out of the program, or you graduate from the MBA by going through this program, you become an alum of this program. You are like part of it for life. Even today, I get benefits from being a member of the Alum Association. And since their inception in 1966, they have contributed over 650 million funding to MBA programs. And when I talk of the member schools, these are the member schools, 25 member schools. They are all over the US. We have some in California, the University of California, UCLA. We have Stanford, also in California, University of Southern California. We have Carnegie Mellon in Pittsburgh. We have University of Chicago and Illinois, Columbia University, New York, Cornell, New York, Dartmouth, New Hampshire, Duke, North Carolina, Emory, Atlanta, Georgia, Georgetown, DC, Indiana University, University of Michigan, New York University, University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, Northwestern at Chicago, Rice University in Texas, University of Rochester, upstate New York. I've talked of Southern California, Stanford, University of Texas at Austin, University of Virginia, University of Washington. This is Washington State in the northwestern part of the US. Washington University in St. Louis, Missouri, University of Wisconsin, that is where I went to school, my alma mater, and Yale University in Connecticut. So these are the schools. When I went through the program, we had only 18 schools. The number keeps increasing. Today we have 24 schools. So we have more opportunities to benefit from this program. These are the member schools again, showing their symbols. So I will skip this quickly and then move on to the mission of the consortium. This is the mission. You'll find it at their website. To enhance diversity and inclusion in global business, education, and leadership by striving to reduce the significant underrepresentation of African Americans, Hispanic Americans, and Native Americans in both our member schools enrollments and the ranks of global management across the following sectors: for nonprofit education, for-profit corporations, nonprofit corporations, government agencies and contractors, entrepreneurial ventures in both for-profit and nonprofit environments. So that is the mission of the consortium. To break it down in layman's language, all consortium wants you to do or to show is that you are involved in your community. You are doing some community work, community service. When I applied to the program, I had to write about what I did when I did my national service in Ghana many years back, where I worked as a teacher. And that was good enough because they said, yes, I'm helping my community. It matches with their mission. And that is how I got in. So when you are going to apply, they ask for a demonstrated commitment to the consortium mission, meaning show to us how you are connected to your community. So anything you are doing in the community, any volunteering work you're doing, things like that, you can write an essay on that, and that will qualify you to be part of the consortium. Now, why do you want to go through the consortium? There are a lot of benefits from going through them versus applying on your own. If you want to apply to business schools, on average, you'll be paying about $100 per application. Now, if you go through the consortium, you don't apply to, let's say I'm interested in Yale. I don't go to Yale website to apply, but I apply through the consortium website and I select Yale. And I can select up to 6 schools for the price of $300. And when you select those 6 schools, you tell them what ranking you want them to be in. And there's tiered pricing. So if I'm applying to just one school, I'll pay less, and then the price keeps increasing until up to 6 schools. Now, after 6 schools, if you want to add, you pay additional $25 per school after your 6 schools. But if you're applying to the 6 schools, then you pay $300 for all the 6 schools. And you fill one essay. So instead of going to every school's website, writing, you put in your name, your personal information and all that, you do that once. Although you write essays, and some schools require you to write school-specific essays in addition to the essays that you write for the consortium. And then if you go through the program and you are accepted, so this is how it works. The schools you are interested in, the school will accept or offer you admission first, and then the consortium comes to offer you their funding. And because you went through the consortium, you are considered a consortium student or a consortium fellow. And you are a member for life, because even after you graduate, you become an alum of the consortium, and they stay connected with you. You get access to job postings, you get access to networking events, and so on. So you apply to the school offers you funding. Usually, let's say you apply around November, December, by early spring, you hear about, or late winter, you get the notification that you've been accepted. Now the consortium meets to decide on the funding for you, and the funding can be partial or full, depending on the strength of your essay, or the strength of your application package, I should say. So they are looking at your essays, they are looking at other components in your application, which I'll review shortly. And then you can get full funding or partial. I got full funding when I applied. And then another benefit to you as a consortium fellow or consortium student is what we call the OP, the orientation program. So what happens is you have applied, you've been accepted, you've been offered funding. It doesn't end there. Schools will start in the fall, August, September timeframe. But the summer before you even set foot in the school, the consortium holds what they call the orientation program. This is a big event that they move it from city to city. When I had mine, it was in Minneapolis, in Minnesota, and they move it from city to city. And during this program, you learn more about the consortium, you network with students from other consortium schools, and more importantly, all the big companies that sponsor the consortium are there. They have a career fair. So for a couple of days, you will have this career fair where you start interviewing to get internships, even before you start your program. I know so many of my classmates that when we went to school in the fall, they already had their internships locked up. So they knew that after their first year, this is the company they were going to for their internships. So that is another benefit you get. And then your resume continues to be in the consortium database. Year by year, they reach out to you to update your resume, and they want to have your updated information. And they have jobs that are posted on their website, and some of the jobs they email to you. So I get in my email every couple of months that, oh, Johnson & Johnson is looking for somebody to fill this role. This is what they are looking for. If you're interested, apply through the consortium. So that is a benefit if you go through the consortium. Now, how to apply? I think this is the most important piece. So you apply through their website, like I've said, and they have the early application, which is in October. Usually by early to mid-October, that's the deadline. And if you want to go the traditional way, then you have in January, early to mid-January, that's the deadline. I typically encourage everyone that try as much as possible to complete and submit in early October, do the early admission, because once admission decisions are made, the consortium starts allocating the funds. So if you are doing traditional, and by the time they are done with the early admission, the money is gone, yes, you'll be a consortium fellow, but you'll be a fellow with no funding. So try as much as possible to get in with the early admission deadline before the deadline passes. And you write the essays. They have the core essay that you write. You write another essay that is talking about the demonstrated commitment to the mission of the consortium. That's what I talked about. Any volunteering work, any community work you've done, you can write about it. When I wrote about mine, I wrote about my national service I did in Ghana, and that was still good. And for many of the schools, they also have their school-specific essays that you write, and you submit everything through the consortium. The next thing is that component you need is the test scores, GMAT or GRE scores. Today, many schools offer test optional, but I would say as much as possible, try and write the GMAT or the GRE and spend time on it. Some of you who have taken some of these standardized tests, you know that it takes time. So make sure you devote time to it to prepare, practice, and then write the exam and do well. And then you stand a very good chance of getting good scholarship. Your resume will be needed, your transcripts. If you had your bachelor's in Ghana, like I did, you have to get your transcripts from Ghana. And you know, things coming from Ghana can take a long time. So you want to start the process very early. And then you need recommendation letters. And you tell the consortium how you want to rank the schools. When I applied, my first school was Carnegie Mellon in Pittsburgh. My second school was University of Wisconsin. And I know I told you earlier on, I went to University of Wisconsin. Why? I got into Carnegie Mellon. I got a full funding for all the tuition and fees covered. But then Wisconsin gave me a counter offer that in addition to all that Carnegie Mellon is offering you, we'll also give you a monthly stipend and we'll also give you health insurance. And as somebody with a family, I chose to go to Wisconsin, which was a little lower rank than Carnegie Mellon. So you have that flexibility. Get your application in there, make sure you submit a strong application package, and then you get into your schools. And the application fees are what I'm showing here. If you're applying to 6 schools, you pay $300. 1 to 2 schools is $150. So that is all I want to talk about in terms of the consortium. And my purpose is just to whet your appetite so that you find out more. The website I shared, pay attention to it and go to the website to find out more. If you have questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'll be glad to answer as many questions as you have.
Share the website once again, please.
Yes, the website is here, is cgsm.org. cgsm.org. It's also showing on the slide.
Okay. Katekis and Mr. Autry, thank you both so much. We thank you for taking the time to take us through this. Please, if you have questions or comments, you can put them in the chat. We can ask, once we exhaust the questions there, we can also allow you to mute and then you share. So there are a few questions here. The first one goes to Mr. Autry. He says, can you please review a little more on life insurance versus other mutual funds?
On life insurance and mutual funds.
Yes.
So, yeah, basically like life insurance, and I know there's a lot of people that I met who are part of PCG that are also agent for the BFG, and they are all over, so they can share more. But basically, the mutual funds, it's controlled by the stock market. So the advantage is what is going on in the stock market affects that mutual fund. Okay. And insurance, not so much, because you have a cap of even if stock is zero or even stock is dying, you're not going to lose anything. So my personal preference is the permanent life insurance for a child, because that cut across state line. The mutual fund also does, but I have more control. And also with the life insurance, you can see how much it's performing annually. They send you like a statement that you can see how much it's performing. So basically that's what it is. But some of our brothers who are the VFC agent can share more. And I'm also available after this for questions.
Okay. The next question says, do you have to evaluate your educational information from Ghana? I suppose this goes to catechists.
Yes, thank you for that question. So when I applied, I didn't have to do that because I had done some schooling here in the US. But I will say that, yes, in most cases, you have to do that. And there's an organization, WES, that you can work through them to get your transcripts converted. I went to KNUST. In those days, we didn't have our cumulative weighted average was giving us a percentage. So I needed that to be converted to the GPA system here on a scale of 0 to 4. And so I went through the WES to get that converted. So you can do that. When I went to Wisconsin told me they wanted the Ghana transcript as they were. They were okay with those. They could evaluate me based on that. So I would say that even before you start, it's a good idea to start working on the transcript piece and get that taken care of because it takes time. The WES will give you a form that has to be sent to Ghana, and for Ghana people to fill the form, add your transcript to it, and mail it back to them. And sometimes it takes time. So I say do it now before you need it.
All right. Maybe the next one. It says, what is a good grade to start applying for scholarships? At this point, before the answers go, can you still hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So if you also have questions, you can just raise hands using the fixture so that we can call on you to ask your question. But we have one more question there that we can be interested in. What is a good grade to start applying for scholarships?
Yeah, I'll take that, Papa. Normally, I think 3.2 and above is good. If you have 3.5, it's also okay, or even 3.7 or 4, that's good. But Papa, let me just chip on something. In terms of planning for child education, there's something that I miss out, and that's when we are planning. Sometimes you should plan more than 4 years, because according to the National Center for Education Statistics, only 41% of first-time, full-time college students graduate in the first 4 years, in the 4-year term. So that means that about 29 that are graduating after 4 years. And sometimes it's an uncomfortable situation, but when that happens, we should know that you are not alone. There are other people that are also graduating after their 4th year. So I just want to add that. Thank you.
And Papa, if I can add to that, for the MBA, yes, your GPA is important, but the GPA is not the only component. They look at the entire package, your essays, the strength of your essays, your test results, and then the recommendation letters. So you want to make sure that each of these items I've mentioned are strong to put you in a good position to get the funding. When you have all of those, your GPA, like Mr. Autry said, you have the higher the better. Their test scores, if it's GMAT, you getting at least 550 and above. It's over 800. You have solid people who can write good, put in good word for you for recommendation letters. So once you have all of this, and then of course, your essays, once you cover those strongly, you stand a good chance of getting full scholarship.
Okay. Do we have other people who want to voice out their questions? Please, you can use the function to raise up your hand and then we call on you.
Yeah, Papa, sorry. While people try to raise their hands, I see one question I can address, that there's somebody who has their MBA and they didn't have work experience, so they are having difficult finding a job. Yes, that is always a challenge. So for this brother or sister, I would say that they should look at more like non-profit organizations, where they are the places where they may readily give you the opportunity. Like I always say, you can't buy experience from Walmart. So somebody has to employ you so you get that experience. So let this person consider non-profit organizations that they will be willing to give him the opportunity. They may not pay him as highly as he will want, but he stands a very good chance. After spending a couple of years there, he could move to wherever he wants if he doesn't want to stay in that program. And there's another question here, is what I'm talking about only for MBA or doctoral? It's primarily for MBAs. However, if you are interested in doctoral in management, you can also apply.
Okay. Any more questions?
Papa, can I talk without raising my hand? I don't know how to raise my hand.
Go ahead.
So this is extremely amazing and is very good talk that we just had. All I want to say is this, that the speaker mentioned earlier that when you work for a company, sometimes you want to go on your own, and you want to do things that not necessarily the company is sponsoring you. And when I did my MBA, I was able to get in through a program called Executive MBA because I had more than 15 years of experience in my job. And therefore, the Executive MBA, you don't even take the GRE, you don't take anything, they let you in because you have all this experience. And then once you get in, I was able to do mine within 18 months because, and the cost was about $53,000. But the $53,000 included all the materials, going to China and sleeping in hotels and going through to Beijing and Shanghai and all those things were included in the MBA program because then you come out and then you have experience already and you have this qualification. So that is another way you can do it. If you work for a company and then you have experience in the company, you have a chance also to go into programs without struggling to try to get into it. You can get in by just consulting with the university and then talking to them about your experience, and they're always accepting people who have experience in their companies. So that's all I want to say at this time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kote. So what Papa said is right. So if you have many years of experience, you could get into the executive MBA, and because you already have the experience. So in general, getting into an MBA program is the easy part. The more difficult part is the funding. But if you go through the executive MBA, in most cases, you don't get sponsorship unless your organization is paying for you. In most cases, you have to pay for yourself. And the fellowship I talked about doesn't apply here. So for the consortium, you have to go full-time into a regular or traditional MBA. If you go through the executive MBA, this one doesn't sponsor that. There may be other finance financing opportunities, but I don't know of any. But for the consortium, you have to go through the traditional full-time MBA. But also know that the executive MBA is always there as an option. Thank you for sharing.
Any more we can we can take about 2 more questions, 2 more, and then we can bring it to a close. Anybody else has a question for us? It looks like we've exhausted all the questions. Okay, Bridget says, I joined pretty late. Can I please get the link to apply? I think the person is talking about the MBA.
Okay.
So, Katikis, if you can get a link into this, I'm sure they'll be happy about that. Yeah.
Okay, please give me a second. I'll put the link in there.
Okay. All right. We'll continue from here. So, if there are no further questions, please let's thank our speakers. Let's thank our speakers for all they did and for the opportunity to have shared with us. We will continue by calling on our chairperson of Presbytery, to give his closing remarks, and then after that, we'll do the vote of thanks.
Director, thank you very much. I think this is very interesting and very useful program. It's very insightful and educative. Of course, sort of ways even the resource persons we have are in our Presbytery. We thank God. Of course, the way they set the record state concerning findings and the modalities. I think you have another time for the Australia area, so that they will also enjoy this very important education. I thank you, Papa Awuku, my son, and Azar Ebotre. You are so great. I think we need more of such people in the Presbytery, so that they will help people. We have students who are very interested in all these areas, but today, this is more than a marathon. So we are blessed, but I want to assure you, if there's anything, we shall consult the speakers, and especially from your end as a director, if there's any directives. So I thank them on behalf of the Presbytery Session Council Standing Committee. It is my prayer that the good Lord will continue to equip them for such programs. I'm really excited. God bless them and everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Papa Chairperson. We will proceed by calling on our sister, while a member of the Education Committee at the Presbytery, Dr. Elizabeth Otiaisi, to give us the vote of thanks. Doc, are you there? Dr. Elizabeth Otiaisi. Okay. it looks like we missed her. She was on. Beloved, we want to thank you on the part of the education department of the Presbytery. We want to thank God for the opportunity. We want to thank the Presbytery chairperson and the standing committee and the entire session for giving us the opportunity. This was a Presbytery program. It was on the Presbytery calendar. And we believe that all concerned have taken notice of this, and it's going to happen every year. Every year we have a different topic that we will treat, and that was of importance to the Presbytery. And so I'm happy that we were able to all join tonight. And I know that we've all learned a lot. And so we go out there and put these things to good use. So we will shift to thank everyone who came tonight. We thank our speakers for their time and availability. The time they spend to prepare to even come and deliver is so precious, and we truly appreciate your effort. And for you as our members, the people of the Presbytery who came to participate in this program, I believe you've learned a thing or two that you can also share with other people. Let's go out there and be each other's keeper. Amen. We will take our announcement from the clerk of Presbytery.
All right. Thank you. As the chairperson already said, we are grateful to God that all the knowledge we have is within the Presbytery. We thank all of you, especially the speakers. God bless you. God bless you, Dr. and Dr. Awuku. Thank you. And to all persons that joined, also want to say a big thank you. We want to remind ourselves that California District, especially California Riverside, is 10 years. And so coming Sunday, they're going to climax the activities, which is starting, God willing, Wednesday through to Sunday. There will be 10 years, and the chairperson of Presbytery will be there. Again, we want to say that choir conference also comes up this weekend, and to be continued with the that of singing band at Ohio District. The choir comes up at New England District. The last part for the month will be the YAF Congress as well, also coming on around Washington, D.C. North District. We pray that the Lord will continue to be with us in all our ways. Evangelism consultation will be July 23rd. We pray that the Lord grants us all the peace that we need. So once again, thank you so much, the director, for leading us through this activity. We'll keep you posted of any development. Once again, be reminded, please, that 15th of September is a chairperson's send-off. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, the clerk of Presbytery. We will go to our chairperson again for his blessings before we leave. So, Papa Chairperson, we are ready to receive the closing prayer and the benediction.
Good. Let us pray.